Just 2 years ago, the French Quarter was silent. On the left, you see the empty streets, the city just shut down. On the right, that's what the French Quarter looked like today for the first day of French Quarter Fest. And let's take a live look tonight. The party is stretching well into the night. The hospitality industry that drives the city is taking front and center heading into the weekend. From the festival to the Pelicans game, thousands of tourists are pouring into the city this weekend. And Mike McDaniel is joining us live where it is all happening in the French Quarter tonight. The tourists are a good sign after the last 2 years, Mike, but the workers are facing some new challenges.
Yeah, and thankfully we're above it all. You've got French Quarter Fest this weekend, Jazz Fest coming up. It all means a lot of people in the city, both tourists and locals, whether they're in the bars, the restaurants, or the hotels. It all means a strain on an industry still trying to recover from a pandemic.
With a whistle and an eye for perfection, Zoe McCoy Gonzalez is one of the newest culinary team members at the Elysian Bar in the Marigny.
You can't match the feeling that you get when you eat something delicious.
She landed the job 3 months ago, a position that came from a pivot.
Like so many others, I was really just questioning a lot about my life during the pandemic and what I valued.
Value reconnected her with her 7-year-old self, flipping tortillas. A lifelong draw to the kitchen became a main ingredient for a journey into the hospitality industry hit hard by the pandemic.
Absolutely, I was worried.
Graduating from the New Orleans Culinary and Hospitality Institute, she's now part of a career-focused workforce, slowly returning to bars, restaurants, and hotels.
It's definitely a pleasant surprise when you do get the opportunity to interview somebody and you're like, oh wow, like they still exist, like people still want to work in this industry.
Elysian Bar executive chef Jonathan Klascala says as tourism roars back, staffing is still a big issue.
Are we staffed for this influx of tourism? Like, no, we're not.
Causing kitchens like his to rethink operations to meet demand.
And I like to think like what we do is a very important part of people's day-to-day lives, and there's a gap that needs to be filled.
There's a really long way to go.
Rami Robert with the New Orleans Culinary and Hospitality Institute says the pandemic shined a light on career paths in an industry now back in demand.
There's a lot of enthusiasm, and we've seen students from all walks of life.
For this now cook and pastry chef, it's been a walk well worth it, and is glad she took a chance.
But I was thinking to myself, maybe this is kind of crazy to actually pursue this. That being said, I think honestly we came out stronger in the end because of the pandemic.
And with this increase in tourism, the executive chef you just heard from told me he's never been this excited to be so tired. And on a side note here, since January 2020, when this pandemic really started, about 87% of the students who go through the New Orleans Culinary and Hospitality Institute are able to get some type of financial aid. There's also about a 90% career placement rate after graduation. Of course, some good news because those jobs are everyday demands here in the city. Live in the French Quarter, Mike McDaniel, Eyewitness News.